Joining me now, DNC Communications Director Mo Alithi and RNC Communications Director Sean Spicer. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
Good to be here. Mo, we'll begin with you. We want to start in Kansas. Do the Democrats back independent Greg Orman?
Well, look, it's really a fascinating race, and what's happening in Kansas altogether, I think, is really fascinating, where you've got two very, very competitive races where, in both the governor's race and the Senate race, where the Republican incumbents are tanking. The Republican brand is starting to tank in Kansas. That ought to tell you something about...
The question is, though, do you support Greg Orman? Is he your guy?
Well, look, I think, this race is still very fluid, and I think one thing that we're seeing is that we, along with a lot of people in Kansas, are committed to seeing some sort of change there in the United States Senate and seeing some sort of change in leadership coming out of, that we're not seeing coming from Pat Roberts.
All right, not sure we got a yes or no out of you, but Sean, I pose to you, are you worried that the attacks from Pat Roberts make it more likely that Orman could caucus with the Democrats if he wins?
Oh, there's no question that he will caucus with the Democrats if he wins. He is a Democrat. The reason that they did what they did in Kansas is because their candidate, who is the Democratic that they put forward, couldn't win. So they tried to figure out anything they could. At the end of the day, this comes home. Pat Roberts gets reelected. He's done a great job in his 3 terms there. There's no question in my mind that Kansas stays red. What's that?
He's losing the head-to-head.
Look, I will put everything I have that on election night, Pat Roberts heads back to a 4th term.
All right, I want to know how much you have. We may be putting Pat on.
It's not that much.
I might want to take that back.
That's very generous of you. All right, overall, and I'll put this question to each of you guys quickly. Mo, give us a sense. What does success in Senate races look like for the Democrats? And then, Sean, the same question to you. Mo first.
I feel pretty good that we're going to hold the United States Senate. I think an overwhelming majority of our Democratic senators are going to return. Harry Reid will
But that's easy to say, but how are you going to do that right now? There's not the same enthusiasm on the Democrat side as the Republican side. It's easy to say, I'm confident we're going to hold on. What's the roadmap? How does that happen?
Oh, look, I think we got to continue to make a clear choice for voters about the difference between the Democratic candidates and the Republican candidates. We're out there actually fighting to help increase opportunity for people in the middle class. And you've got Mitch McConnell saying if he's going to be, if he becomes majority leader and Republicans take control, we're going to see more of the same gridlock that led us to a government shutdown.
Sean, what's success for you look like?
Success looks like it's not just in the Senate, Peter. We're winning all around the country in governor's races, state legislative races. But the key, as you kind of pointed out through the map, is that we've got 3 that we feel really good about, another 4 where we think we feel really good about flipping their incumbents. But then the map expands to places like Oregon, Michigan, Virginia, New Hampshire, Minnesota, Iowa, Colorado, as you mentioned, Cory Gardner, Joni Ernst. Our map keeps getting bigger and bigger, not smaller. When you look at, and also when you look at the governor's races, you look at states like Rhode Island, where Mayor Alan Fung is tied with Gina Romano up there, where Foley's beating Daniel Malloy in Connecticut, where Baker's beating Coakley in Massachusetts. We are expanding the map in governor's races, state legislative races, and Senate races. I will guarantee you this. Here's the thing.
In Michigan, in Wisconsin,
and we will hold them all. But at the end of the day, it's on election night where the scorecard really matters. The Democrats talked about the fact they were going to campaign on Obamacare in 2014. They talked about the fact they were going to pick up seats in the House, hold the Senate. I don't think any of those predictions are going to come true at all. And I think on election night, it's going to be Republicans, and they're going to be talking about...
Let me get in for a sec. I want to, as I hear you guys bickering about this very topic, here's what we hear from Americans. 53% of voters tell us in our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll that Washington will stay the same no matter which one of your sides wins this election. So I guess, Mo, I pose to you, what proof is there that if Democrats hold the Senate that they would be able to break Washington's dysfunction?
Well, look at the agendas that we're putting forward versus the agenda they're putting forward. We're talking about things that will actually expand economic opportunity, like student loans, like reducing the pay gap. They're talking about issues like Benghazi still. They're talking about repealing the Affordable Care Act. They're talking about suing the President of the United States, and they're talking about another government shutdown.
Sean,
that's the difference.
Sean, what would Republican control of the Senate look like?
Well, Republican control of the Senate would look like this. Right now, the only branch that the only thing that we control is 1/2 of Congress. We control the Republican House. We've put over 300 bills on Harry Reid's desk, things like passing the Keystone Pipeline, tax reform, regulatory reform, all of those things will start to move forward. We'll get people back to work and start to lift up the economy. 2 years of more Democrat control is going to look like more dysfunction, more Harry Reid stopping things, more Obamacare, more things that they did when they controlled all branches of government, which is what people are rejecting.
Congressional Republican approval ratings at an all-time low.
Mo, since my time's limited, I want to pose an important question to you. There's a news story this morning in Politico that has Democrats named and unnamed griping about the leadership of DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz, talking about her growing distance from this White House. Does she intend to serve as chair through 2016?
She is the chair of the DNC. She's chair of the DNC through 2016. We've got a great relationship with the White House. She's going to be appearing on stage tomorrow with Vice President Biden, President Obama,
you read
former
the article.
Secretary Hillary Clinton.
Is there no fact to that article?
Look, you know, Washington, you get all sorts of articles that come out of Washington. The proof is in the pudding, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz has been a tireless advocate for Democrats, and the DNC is stronger today than it was when I came on board a little over a year ago. We're moving things forward, and we're part of a great team along with our counterparts in the White House, at the DSCC, the DCCC, to make great gains.
Well, Peter, if I can just say, I never agree with Debbie Wasserman Schultz on anything, but I will say that, look, she serves, she's as a party chairman, she's a working mother. She's out there in Congress. What the White House and what others are doing, throwing her to the bus, if they don't like the job they're doing, they should respectfully ask her to step down. But treating her this way is just really not something that should be done.
Fine, fair enough. I appreciate you getting that final word in. Sean and Mo, I have a feeling we'll do this again before November. Gentlemen, thanks so much.
Looking forward to it. Thanks.
Coming up, Ukrainian President Poroshenko ready to